The way we talk about quitting says more about culture than about how progress really works. Like persistence is a virtue and quitting is weakness. But the framing is already wrong. Engineers don't ask, am I strong enough to keep going? They ask something far more important. Is the system converging or not? Because not everything that feels hard is worth continuing. And not everything that feels discouraging is broken. The video is not about motivation. It's about learning how to diagnose the dip so you don't quit too early or stay too long. The popular interpretation of the dip is simple. There is a hard part in the middle, winners push through, and losers quit. That's not wrong, but it's dangerously incomplete. Because if you persist blindly, you don't become disciplined. You become inefficient. In engineering, persistence without diagnosis is waste. The real insight of the dip is not never quit. It's the following. The hard part is not effort. The hard part is knowing whether the resistance you're facing is information or it's a dead end. And that distinction is everything. What the dip actually is. The dip is not emotional. It's not psychological. It's not about confidence. The dip is a system state. Specifically, it's something like inputs continue, effort remains high, but the outputs stall. They fluctuate or they regress. In control system language, the system becomes nonlinear. The feedback is delayed, the noise increases, the lagging indicators mislead. This is why people panic. They mistake delayed reward for system failure. I'd like to provide some tangible examples to make it a little easier to understand. In engineering projects, the dip often shows up at the same place. Not at ideation, not at early prototyping, but it's during integration, verification, validation, and scale up. Early success tests whether the idea works in isolation. The dip tests whether the idea works under load, under variability, time, and constraints. And that is not failure. That is reality entering the system. Let's look at when one develops an actual engineering device. So, a team develops a wearable physiological monitoring device. The early results appear to be strong. The bench accuracy looks great, short duration tests pass, confidence is high, and then the verification testing begins, and suddenly signal stability starts degrading after extended wear, motion introduces noise, sweat exposure causes intermittent dropouts. This is the dip. And now here is the critical fork. There is the bad interpretation. This worked before, now it doesn't. The concept is flawed. Or the engineering interpretation, which requires just slightly less laziness, to be honest. You ask few questions. What is failing? Measurement stability over time. Under what load? Motion, moisture, heat duration. What proves it? Repeatable drift patterns after wear simulation. And that's not chaos, that's information. This is a dip you stay in because the failure modes are identifiable. The physics is understood and there is fixed paths that exist. Each iteration improves the system understanding. Quitting here would not be wise. It would be misdiagnosis. Most people don't quit because it's hard. They quit because the feedback becomes noisy. The progress becomes invisible. The rewards become delayed. Identity takes a hit. They stop trusting the system and they start trusting their emotion instead. Most engineers don't do that. They keep their emotions aside. They ask, is the system teaching us something new with each iteration? If yes, you're in the dip. If no, then you might be stuck. Now, Let's take the same logic and apply it to a human system. Someone that leaves a stable job to start an AI automation agency. You probably have already heard about. There are tons of these out there. The early phase are tool work, demos are impressive, the learning is fast, and then the dip arrives. There are inconsistent clients, long selling cycles, revenue volatility, unclear positioning. Emotionally, it feels like a failure. But let's diagnose it. What is failing? Perhaps it's a predictable client acquisition. Under what load? Well, it could be cold outreach plus general messaging. The evidence? The evidence can be seen in the interest without conversion. This is not a talent problem. This is a system design problem. Specifically, it's an unclear ideal customer profile and the value prop. That's a dip you decide to stay in, but only if you redesign the inputs. Persisting blindly is wrong. Persisting while re-engineering the system is correct. Now, let's look at what bad persistence look like. In engineering, you keep adding fixes. Failures multiply. No dominant failure mode emerges. And every solution breaks something more fundamental. In careers, you hate the core activities. The stress increases with exposure. The feedback stays vague. There is no leverage point that becomes visible. This is not the dip. This is non-converging system. And staying here is not discipline. It's denial. So then, when is quitting the correct decision? Let's go back to the wearable device. A further analysis can show required accuracy exceeds what physics plus power allow. A motion compensation drains the battery. The size and the cost constraints cannot be met simultaneously. There's no clever iteration that will fix this. This is not push harder. This is a change in direction. On the other side, if we take a look at the career mirror, the AI agency founder realizes that they hate sales. Ambiguity causes constant stress. They need stable income. The client-facing work drains them. This is not a mindset issue. This is a human-system mismatch. And quitting here is not weakness. It's actually a correct system design. Here is the real philosophy of the dip. A dip is when the system resists, but it teaches you. A dead end is when the system resists and teaches you nothing new. Winners are not people who never quit. They're people who quit the wrong system early and stay in the right ones long enough to compound. So before quitting, please take the time to ask yourself the following. First, can I clearly say what is failing? In plain terms, not emotions. If you can't point to a specific failure, you are not stuck yet. You're just early. Second, is anything improving beneath the surface? Even if the final result isn't. When your leading signals move and outcomes lag, that's not failure. That is the dip. Third, what is actually constraining me here? Is it physics? Is it money, time, regulation? Or is it just discomfort and uncertainty? Only real constraints should change your direction. Emotional discomfort usually isn't it. It is just a signal that the system is under load. 4, is the system breaking in one clear place or everywhere at once? When the problem narrows, progress is happening. When everything feels equally broken, then the system isn't converging. If the system converges, you stay. If it fundamentally cannot, then exit cleanly. Most people don't fail because they lack grit. They fail because they never learn how to diagnose system under uncertainty. The dip isn't something to fear. It's something to interpret. And once you can do that, you no longer need motivational speeches. You will know with calm precision whether to push forward or to walk away without regret. Thank you for the time today, and until next time, be well.